The house was too quiet when I walked through the front door at 2:47 a.m. Usually, Adrien would be asleep by now, but I could see the blue glow of his phone screen from the living room couch. My heart did this weird little skip, but I pushed down the feeling. I'd done nothing wrong, just dancing with friends at the club. Jessie was there, sure, but we were all just having fun. "Hey baby," I called out softly, kicking off my heels and letting them clatter on the hardwood floor. "You waited up?" Adrien didn't look up from his phone immediately. When he finally did, his expression was unreadable. Cold, almost. "How was your night out, Kalantha?" Something in his tone made my stomach tighten. "It was fine. Good. You know, just dancing with the girls. Sabine came too, and we ran into some people from the gym." I kept my voice light, breezy. "You should have come, I told you that." "Yeah, you mentioned that." He set his phone face down on the coffee table with deliberate care. Multiple times. I moved toward the kitchen, suddenly needing something to do with my hands. "Want me to make you some tea? You look tired." "I'm fine." The silence stretched between us like a rubber band about to snap. I grabbed a water bottle from the fridge and took a long sip, trying to read his mood. Adrien was usually so easygoing, so trusting. This coldness was new, and I didn't like it. "Did Issa go down okay?" I asked, grasping for normal conversation. "She was fine. Asked where Mommy was going to dance." His voice carried an edge I'd never heard before. "I told her you were having fun with friends." "That's all I was doing." The words came out sharper than I intended. "What's with the interrogation, Adrien? You're acting like I committed some crime." He stood up slowly, and for the first time in our 8 years of marriage, I felt nervous around my own husband. "Am I? Acting like that?" "Yeah, you are." I crossed my arms, feeling defensive heat rise in my chest. "I went out dancing, with friends, like normal people do, like I told you I was going to do. With Jessie." The way he said Jessie's name made my mouth go dry. "Jessie was there, yes, along with about 50 other people. It's a public place, Adrien." "Right, public." He picked up his phone again, and I caught a glimpse of what looked like a video thumbnail before he locked the screen. "Very public." My heart started hammering. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing, just making conversation." But his eyes said something entirely different. "Is there anything you want to tell me about tonight, Kalantha? Anything at all?" The question hung in the air like smoke. I could feel him watching my face, studying my reaction. This was ridiculous. I was his wife, not some criminal being interrogated. "No, Adrien, there's nothing to tell. I went dancing. I had fun. I came home to my family. End of story." I softened my voice, moving closer to him. "Baby, what's really going on here? You're scaring me a little." For a moment, his expression almost cracked. Almost. Then the cold mask slipped back into place. "I'm tired," he said finally. "We should get some sleep." "Okay." I reached for his hand, but he was already walking toward the stairs. "Adrien." He paused without turning around. "I love you. You know that, right?" "Yeah," he said quietly. "I know." But as I watched him climb the stairs without looking back, I had the sinking feeling that everything had just changed, and I didn't even know why. Upstairs, I found him already in bed, turned away from my side. I slipped into the bathroom and caught my reflection in the mirror. My makeup was smudged, my hair wild from dancing. There was a faint smell of cologne on my dress, not Adrien's cologne. I washed my face and changed into pajamas, trying to shake the feeling that I was being watched. When I finally slipped into bed, Adrien didn't move, didn't reach for me like he usually did. "Good night," I whispered. Silence. I lay there staring at the ceiling, replaying the evening. Dancing with Jessie had felt so natural, so fun. We'd known each other for years through the gym and family gatherings. When that slow song came on and he'd pulled me close, it had just felt like dancing. When I'd ended up on his lap during that playful moment, laughing and moving to the music, it was just the alcohol and the atmosphere. Harmless fun between friends, wasn't it? My phone buzzed on the nightstand. A text from Sabine. "Hope you got home okay. Adrien being weird about tonight." I typed back quickly. "He's acting jealous and controlling. So annoying." "Ugh, typical. You did nothing wrong. Don't let him make you feel guilty for having fun." Her words made me feel better. Sabine was right. I was a grown woman who deserved to have fun with friends. If Adrien couldn't handle that, it was his problem, not mine. But as I finally drifted off to sleep, I couldn't shake the image of that video thumbnail on his phone, or the way he'd said, "very public," like it meant something I didn't understand yet. Chapter 2. Brunch blow up. The next morning felt like walking on eggshells. Adrien was up early, making coffee and breakfast for Issa with mechanical precision. He barely looked at me when I came downstairs. "Morning, Mummy." Issa bounced over to hug my legs. "Daddy made pancakes." "That's wonderful, baby." I kissed the top of her head and tried to catch Adrien's eye. "Thank you for making breakfast." He nodded without speaking, focused intently on flipping pancakes. "So," I said, pouring myself coffee, "your mum wanted us to come to brunch today at Riverside Cafe. The whole family's going to be there." "I remember." "Should we still go? I mean, if you're going to be in this mood all day." Finally, he looked at me. "What mood would that be, Kalantha?" "This cold, silent treatment thing. It's not fair to Issa." "You're right, it's not fair to Issa." He turned back to the stove. "We'll go to brunch." Something in his tone made me nervous, but I pushed the feeling down. Maybe being around family would help him snap out of whatever this was. 2 hours later, we were sitting at a large table at Riverside Cafe with Adrien's mother, Miriam, my mother, Judith, my sister, Sabine, and unfortunately, Jesse's girlfriend, Tasha. I hadn't expected her to be there, and from the way she was looking at me, the feeling was mutual. "Kalantha, you look tired," Miriam observed, cutting her eggs Benedict with surgical precision. "Late night. Just went out dancing with Sabine. Nothing crazy." I smiled brightly, determined to keep things normal. "Oh, how fun," Judith chimed in. "It's good for you young mothers to get out sometimes." Sabine nodded enthusiastically. "We had such a great time. The music was amazing and the dance floor was packed." "I'm sure it was," Tasha said quietly, not looking up from her menu. Something in her tone made the table go quiet. Adrien was staring at his coffee like it held the secrets of the universe. "Did you know Jesse was going to be there?" Tasha asked, her voice deceptively casual. "Jesse goes to that club sometimes," I said carefully. "We've all run into each other there before." "Right, run into each other." Tasha finally looked up and her eyes were ice cold. "That's one way to put it." "Tasha," Miriam warned, "let's keep this pleasant." "Of course, I'm just making conversation." But her smile was sharp as a knife. "I mean, when your boyfriend comes home smelling like another woman's perfume and talking about how much fun he had dancing, you tend to be curious about the details." The blood drained from my face. "I don't know what you're implying, but—" "I'm not implying anything, I'm stating facts." Tasha leaned forward. "Jesse told me all about your little performance last night. Very entertaining from what I heard." "Performance?" Judith looked confused. "What performance?" "Nothing," I said quickly. "Tasha's just being dramatic because she's jealous that Jesse had fun without her." "Jealous?" Tasha laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Honey, I'm not jealous, I'm disgusted." "That's enough," Adrien said quietly, speaking for the first time since we'd sat down. Everyone turned to look at him, but he was still staring at his coffee. "Adrien's right," I said, feeling emboldened. "This is ridiculous. I was dancing. At a club, where people dance. If Tasha has issues with her relationship, that's not my problem." "My relationship is fine," Tasha said coldly. "It's your marriage I'd be worried about." The words hit like a slap. Around the table, I could see confusion and concern on my family's faces. Issa was looking between the adults, sensing tension she didn't understand. "How dare you," I said, my voice rising. "How dare you sit at this table and attack my marriage, Because you're insecure about your boyfriend. Kalantha, Miriam said sharply, lower your voice. No, I won't lower my voice. I'm tired of being attacked for having innocent fun with friends. I turned to Sabine. Tell them how innocent it was. Sabine looked uncomfortable. I mean, we were all just dancing and having fun. See? I looked around the table triumphantly. Sabine was there. She saw everything. It was completely innocent. But Sabine's face was troubled, and she wouldn't quite meet my eyes. The thing is, Tasha said slowly, I don't think innocent is the word I'd use. Based on what? Jesse's biased account. Based on the video. The words hit the table like a bomb. Everyone froze. What video? Miriam asked. Tasha pulled out her phone. The one that's been making the rounds since last night. The one someone sent to me this morning with the message, thought you should know. My heart stopped. There's no video. Oh, but there is. Tasha's finger hovered over her phone screen. Would you like me to show everyone, or would you prefer to explain it yourself? I looked around the table desperately. Adrien was finally looking at me, and his expression was unreadable. Miriam looked stern and disapproving. Judith looked worried and confused. Sabine looked like she wanted to disappear. My voice cracked. I don't know what you think you saw, but I saw my boyfriend with a married woman grinding on his lap while her husband was home with their child, Tasha said flatly. I saw a woman who's supposed to be a mother and a wife acting like a single college girl looking for a hookup. That's not what happened, the words exploded out of me. You weren't there. You don't know what you're talking about. The video speaks for itself. Show me, Adrien said quietly. Everyone turned to look at him again. His voice was calm, controlled, but there was something dangerous underneath. Adrien, no, I said quickly. Don't let her poison you with whatever edited nonsense. Show me, he repeated. Tasha looked at me one more time, giving me a chance to come clean. When I said nothing, she turned her phone toward Adrien. I couldn't see the screen, but I could see his face as he watched. The color drained from his cheeks. His jaw tightened, his hands clenched into fists on the table. After what felt like an eternity, he looked up at me. We're leaving, he said quietly. Adrien, we're leaving, now. He stood up and reached for Issa's hand. Come on, sweetheart, we're going home. But I haven't finished my pancakes, Issa protested. You can have pancakes at home. As they walked away, I sat frozen at the table, feeling the weight of everyone's stares. My phone buzzed with a notification, and I looked down to see a message from an unknown number. Thought you should know this is making the rounds. Attached was a video file. With shaking hands, I opened it. There I was, clear as day, sitting on Jesse's lap in the club, moving in ways that definitely didn't look like innocent dancing. The video was short, maybe 30 seconds, but it captured everything. The way I was pressed against him, the way his hands were on my waist, the way I was moving my body against his. It looked exactly like what Tasha had said it looked like. And now, everyone had seen it. Chapter 3. Social ruin. By Monday morning, my world had imploded. The video was everywhere, forwarded through group chats, posted on social media, shared among coworkers and neighbors. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing with notifications, each one making my stomach drop further. At work, conversation stopped when I walked into rooms. Coworkers who usually greeted me cheerfully suddenly found their computer screens fascinating. The office manager, Patricia Williams, called me into her office before lunch. Kalantha, we need to talk, she said, closing the door behind me. I'm sure you're aware that there's been some content circulating that involves you. My cheeks burned. It's been taken completely out of context. It was just dancing. I'm not here to judge your personal life, Patricia interrupted. But when it affects the workplace environment, it becomes my concern. Several clients have mentioned seeing the video, and it's creating an uncomfortable situation. Clients have seen it. My voice came out as a whisper. Social media has a way of spreading things quickly. I'm going to need you to take the rest of the week off while we figure out how to handle this. You're suspending me. I'm giving you time to handle your personal situation before it impacts your professional reputation further. I stumbled out of her office in a daze. At my desk, I opened Facebook to see dozens of comments on a post I hadn't even made. Someone had tagged me in the video. The comments ranged from shocked to judgmental to downright cruel. Can't believe she'd do this to Adrien. That poor little girl. Always knew there was something off about her. Trashy behavior. I started deleting comments as fast as I could, but they kept coming. I blocked users, reported the post, tried to untag myself, but the damage was spreading faster than I could contain it. My phone rang. It was Issa's school. Mrs. Price, this is Janet Morrison, Issa's teacher. I wanted to give you a heads up that some of the other parents have been discussing a video that's been circulating. Issa hasn't heard anything directly, but she's been asking why some of the moms were whispering and looking at her during pickup yesterday. My heart shattered. Oh God, is she okay? She seems confused but not upset yet. I just thought you should know so you can address it at home if needed. After I hung up, I sat in my car in the office parking lot and tried to call Adrien. It went straight to voicemail. I tried again. Same thing. I drove home to find the house empty. Adrien's car was gone, and there was a note on the kitchen counter. Took Issa to my mother's for a few days. Need time to think. Don't call. Don't call. I was his wife. We were supposed to work through problems together, not run away from them. I tried calling anyway. His phone was off. I called Miriam's house. She answered on the third ring. Kalantha. Miriam, please, I need to talk to Adrien. This whole thing has been blown completely out of proportion. Has it? Yes. It was just dancing. Innocent fun that got misinterpreted because of a bad camera angle and people's dirty minds. I saw the video, Kalantha. We all did. Then you saw that nothing actually happened. I was dancing, that's all. There was a long pause. That's not how it looked. Because you're choosing to see something that wasn't there, just like everyone else, just like Adrien. Adrien is devastated. He's overreacting. God forbid his wife has fun without him. God forbid I dance with a friend at a club. This is exactly the kind of controlling behavior that made me need a night out in the first place. Another pause, longer this time. Is that really what you think this is about? Yes, Adrien has always been jealous and insecure. Now he's using this video as an excuse to punish me for having friends and a social life. Kalantha, Miriam's voice was very quiet. I've known my son for 35 years. He is not jealous or controlling. He is one of the most trusting, patient men I've ever known. If he's reacting this way, it's because he has good reason. So you're taking his side. I'm taking the side of truth and dignity, something you seem to have forgotten. The line went dead. I stared at my phone in disbelief. Even Miriam was turning against me. My own mother-in-law, who had always been supportive and kind, was now treating me like a pariah. I called Sabine, desperate for someone to be on my side. Cal, I've been trying to figure out what to say to you, she said without preamble. Just tell me you know I didn't do anything wrong. She sighed heavily. I was there, but I was dancing with other people most of the night. I didn't see exactly what happened between you and Jessie. Nothing happened. We were dancing. Okay, but the video looks really bad, Cal. Like, really bad. Since when do you care what things look like? You're the one who's always telling me to live my life and not worry about what other people think. That's different. This is about your marriage, about Issa. Issa is fine. She would be fine if everyone would stop making this into something it's not. Have you talked to Jessie about this? The question caught me off guard. What? Have you talked to Jessie about what happened, about the video, about how to handle this? No. Why would I need to talk to Jessie? Because he's involved too. Because his girlfriend is furious and your husband is devastated, and maybe you two should figure out how to fix this. There's nothing to fix. God, Sabine, I thought you of all people would understand. I'm trying to understand, but you're not making it easy. You keep saying nothing happened, but the video shows something happening. You keep saying it was innocent, but innocent dancing doesn't usually involve sitting on someone's lap and grinding against them. I hung up on her. My own sister was abandoning me. I spent the rest of the day rage posting on social media, defending myself against the trolls and haters who were trying to destroy my reputation. I shared articles about victim blaming and slut-shaming. I posted inspirational quotes about not letting others dim your light. But for every supportive comment I received, there were 10 more that cut like knives. By evening, I was emotionally drained and completely alone. I ordered Chinese takeout and ate it while scrolling through my phone, watching my social life crumble in real time. Then I saw a post from Miriam that made my blood run cold. Sometimes the people we love make choices that break our hearts. All we can do is pray they find their way back to the truth before it's too late. Praying for my family tonight. The post had dozens of likes and comments from family, friends, and relatives. Everyone knew, everyone was talking about it, everyone was taking sides, and I was losing. Chapter 4: Isolation and Fallout. By Thursday, the silence in my house had become deafening. Adrien still wasn't answering my calls, and Issa's absence felt like a physical ache. I'd tried to maintain some semblance of normalcy, but without work to distract me, and with my family avoiding me, I was going stir-crazy. I decided to go to the gym, hoping to work off some of my anxiety and maybe run into Jessie. We needed to get our stories straight, present a united front about what had actually happened that night. If we could just explain it properly, maybe people would understand. The gym was busier than usual for a Thursday afternoon. I changed quickly and headed to the cardio section, scanning the weight room for Jesse's familiar figure. I spotted him by the bench press, but when our eyes met across the room, he immediately looked away. I finished my warm-up and casually made my way over to him. "Hey," I said quietly, pretending to adjust the weight on a nearby machine. "Kalantha." He didn't look at me, focused intently on re-racking his weights. "We need to talk." "No, we don't." His tone was cold, distant, nothing like the friendly, flirtatious Jessie from the club. "Yes, we do. This whole situation is getting out of hand, and people are misunderstanding what happened between us." Finally, he looked at me, and I was shocked by the exhaustion in his eyes. "What happened between us?" "Nothing happened between us, Kalantha. That's the problem." "Exactly. Nothing happened. So why aren't you defending us? Why aren't you telling people it was innocent?" He stared at me for a long moment. "Because it wasn't innocent." The words hit me like a physical blow. "What?" "It wasn't innocent, and you know it. You were all over me that night, touching me, pressing against me, whispering things in my ear that had nothing to do with dancing. I was drunk. We were having fun. You were hitting on me, hard, and I should have stopped it, but I was drunk too, and I liked the attention." He shook his head. "But I'm sober now, and I can see how messed up it was." "It wasn't messed up. We're friends." "Friends don't do what you did. Married women with children don't do what you did." I felt tears stinging my eyes. "So you're abandoning me too? Just like everyone else?" "I'm not abandoning you. I'm being honest. Something you should try." "I am being honest." "No, you're not. You're lying to yourself and everyone else because you can't handle the truth." "What truth?" "That you wanted to cheat on your husband. That if I had been willing, you would have gone home with me that night, instead of going home to your family." The accusation hung between us like a live wire. I wanted to deny it, to scream that he was wrong, but something in his eyes told me he already knew the answer. "That's not true," I whispered. "Isn't it?" Before I could answer, Tasha appeared beside us, her face dark with fury. "Are you kidding me right now?" she hissed. "You have the nerve to corner my boyfriend at the gym after everything you've done?" I wasn't cornering anyone, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. We were just talking. You need to stay away from him, and me. And honestly, you need to get your life together before you destroy what's left of your family. My family's fine. Your family is falling apart because of your choices. Your husband won't even live in the same house as you. Your daughter is asking why Daddy seems so sad all the time, and you're here harassing the man who helped ruin your marriage. He didn't ruin anything. I didn't ruin anything. Look around you, Kalantha. Tasha gestured to the other gym members, who were now openly staring at our confrontation. Everyone knows what you did. Everyone has seen the video. You can keep lying to yourself, but the rest of us aren't buying it anymore. She grabbed Jesse's arm and pulled him away, leaving me standing alone in the middle of the gym with everyone watching. I gathered my things and fled, my cheeks burning with humiliation. At home, I tried calling Sabine again. This time she answered, but her tone was guarded. Hey, Cal. Sabine, thank God. I just had the worst conversation with Jesse, and I really need someone to talk to. What kind of conversation? He's completely rewriting what happened that night, making it sound like I was throwing myself at him or something. It's insane. There was a pause. Cal, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Okay. Did you have feelings for Jesse? Before that night, I mean. The question caught me off guard. What? No, he's just a friend. Because I remember you mentioning him a lot over the past few months. How funny he was. How good he looked after his workout routine. How easy he was to talk to. I was just making conversation. And at the club, before things got intense, you kept looking around for him. You seemed disappointed when he wasn't there yet. My stomach dropped. I was not looking for him. Cal, I love you, but I was there. I saw how you lit up when he walked in. I saw how quickly you made your way over to him. As a friend. Maybe that's how it started, but somewhere during the night it became something else. You're wrong. Am I? Because the video doesn't just show you dancing provocatively. It shows you looking at him like you wanted him. I hung up on her again, but this time the anger was mixed with something else. Fear. Because deep down, in a part of myself I didn't want to acknowledge, I knew she wasn't entirely wrong. That evening, my phone rang. It was Adrien. Hello? I answered breathlessly. We need to talk. His voice was flat, emotionless. Yes. Adrien, I've been trying to reach you for days. This whole thing has gotten so out of hand. I'm coming by tomorrow to pick up some more clothes. I'll be there at noon. More clothes? What do you mean, more clothes? I mean, I'm not coming home, Kalantha. Not yet. Maybe not ever. The words hit me like a truck. You can't be serious. I've never been more serious about anything in my life. Adrien, please. We can work through this. It was just dancing, just a stupid mistake that got blown out of proportion. It wasn't just dancing. It was, I swear to you. Stop. His voice was sharp. Just stop lying. To me, to yourself, to everyone. I've seen the video. I've talked to witnesses. I know what happened. Witnesses? What witnesses? People who were there. People who saw more than what was captured in that 30-second clip. My mouth went dry. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the fact that you spent most of the night with Jesse. That you were all over him for hours, not just during that one song. That multiple people saw you kissing him. That's not true. Multiple people, Kalantha. People who have no reason to lie. They're lying, or they're misremembering. It was dark. People were drunk. I'm done with your excuses. The finality in his voice terrified me. Adrien, please. I love you. I love our family. Don't let other people's lies destroy what we have. You destroyed what we had the moment you decided to disrespect our marriage in public. I didn't disrespect anything. You sat on another man's lap. You let him put his hands all over you. You kissed him while wearing your wedding ring. His voice cracked slightly. Do you have any idea what it felt like to find out from a coworker that my wife was acting like a single woman at a nightclub? Adrien, I'm done, Kalantha. I'm talking to a lawyer. The line went dead, leaving me alone with the crushing weight of my crumbling world. Chapter 5. The Confrontation. Friday morning arrived with a text from Miriam. Coffee at 10 a.m., Riverside Cafe. We need to talk. I almost didn't go. The thought of facing Adrien's mother after everything that had happened made my stomach churn. But I was desperate for any connection to my family, any chance to explain my side of the story. Miriam was already seated when I arrived, her posture rigid and her expression stern. She'd ordered coffee for both of us, but hers sat untouched. "Thank you for coming," she said as I sat down. "Of course. Miriam, I'm so glad you called. I've been hoping someone would give me a chance to explain. I'm not here to listen to explanations." Her voice was calm but firm. "I'm here to talk to you about my granddaughter." The words hit me like a slap. "Isa? What about Isa?" "She's been staying with me since Monday. She keeps asking when she can go home, when you and Daddy will stop being sad, why everyone seems upset all the time." Tears stung my eyes. I miss her so much. This whole situation is it's gotten so blown out of proportion. All I want is my family back. "Then you need to start telling the truth." "I have been telling the truth." Miriam reached into her purse and pulled out her phone. "Sabine sent me something last night. Screenshots of text messages from your group chat with your girlfriends." My blood ran cold. "What group chat?" "The one where you've been talking about Jesse for months. The one where you called him gorgeous and so much more fun than Adrien. The one where you said you wondered what it would be like to be with someone who actually appreciates you." I stared at her in shock. "Sabine sent you those?" "She's worried about Isa. We all are." "She had no right." "She had every right. You're her sister, but Isa is an innocent child who doesn't deserve to have her life destroyed because her mother can't take responsibility for her actions." "I'm not destroying anyone's life. I made a mistake." "What mistake, exactly?" Miriam leaned forward. "Dancing too provocatively? Or getting caught wanting another man?" The question hung between us like a challenge. I could see in her eyes that she already knew the answer, that all my denials and deflections had failed. "It wasn't like that," I whispered. "Then what was it like?" I struggled to find words that would make her understand. I felt trapped, like I was just Adrien's wife and Isa's mom, but never just me. Jesse made me feel like myself again, like I was interesting and attractive and worth paying attention to. "So you decided to pursue him." "I didn't pursue him. We were friends." "Friends don't send the kind of messages you sent him." My heart stopped. "What messages?" Miriam scrolled through her phone and began reading. "I can't stop thinking about our conversation at the gym yesterday. You always know exactly what to say to make me smile. Adrien doesn't even notice when I get dressed up anymore, but you always compliment me. Sometimes I wonder what my life would be like if I'd met you first." Each message felt like a nail in my coffin. "How do you have those?" Jesse showed them to Tasha when she confronted him about the video. Tasha shared them with people to prove that this wasn't just innocent dancing, and somehow they made their way to me. I felt like I was drowning. Those messages were taken out of context. What context makes it appropriate for a married woman to tell another man that she wishes she'd met him before her husband? I was just venting. I was frustrated with my marriage, and Jesse was a good listener. "You were having an emotional affair." The words hit me like a physical blow. No, that's not what it was." "What would you call it?" "I would call it friendship. I would call it having someone in my life who actually cared about my feelings." "Someone who wasn't your husband." "My husband stopped caring about my feelings years ago." "Did he? Or did you stop sharing them with him because you were too busy sharing them with Jesse?" I stared at her, unable to answer. "Kalantha, I've watched Adrien love you for 8 years. I've watched him work extra hours to provide for your family, come home exhausted, and still help with dinner and bedtime routines. I've watched him brag about you to his friends, support your career goals, encourage you to have girls' nights and pursue your interests. If you felt unappreciated, It's because you stopped seeing his efforts, not because he stopped making them. That's not true, isn't it? When was the last time you thanked him for anything? When was the last time you told him you appreciated him? When was the last time you put as much effort into making him feel special as you put into getting Jesse's attention? I couldn't answer because I couldn't remember. You've been having an affair, Kalantha. Maybe not a physical one, but an emotional one that was clearly heading in a physical direction. And instead of owning up to it and fighting for your marriage, you're sitting here making excuses and blaming everyone else. I love my husband. Do you? Because love doesn't look like what you've been doing. Love doesn't involve betraying someone's trust and then lying about it when you get caught. Tears were streaming down my face now. What do you want me to do? I want you to tell the truth. To Adrien, to yourself, to everyone you've been lying to. I want you to take responsibility for your choices and fight for your family instead of fighting to protect your ego. And if I do that, will Adrien forgive me? Miriam's expression softened slightly. I don't know. The damage is pretty severe, but I know that as long as you keep lying and making excuses, there's no chance at all. She stood up and gathered her purse. Think about what kind of mother you want to be, Kalantha. Think about what kind of example you're setting for your daughter, and think about whether your pride is worth losing everything that actually matters. After she left, I sat alone at the cafe table, staring at my untouched coffee and trying to process everything she'd said. For the first time since this whole nightmare started, I allowed myself to really think about my behavior over the past few months. The text to Jesse, the way I'd started dressing up more on days I knew I'd see him at the gym, the excitement I'd felt when he'd paid attention to me, complimented me, made me feel desired in a way I hadn't felt in years. Maybe Miriam was right. Maybe I had been having an emotional affair, but that didn't mean I deserved to lose my family over it. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Legal consultation scheduled for Monday at 2 p.m. Patricia Chen, Family Law. Address attached. My hand started shaking. Adrien wasn't just threatening anymore. He was actually moving forward with legal action. I had 3 days to figure out how to save my marriage. 3 days to convince him that our family was worth fighting for. 3 days to prove that I wasn't the selfish, lying woman everyone thought I was. But as I sat there in the cafe, surrounded by the wreckage of my reputation and the silence of my empty house, I wasn't sure I even knew who I really was anymore. Chapter 6. Evidence and Legal Reckoning. Monday afternoon arrived like a death sentence. I'd spent the weekend alternating between panic and denial, trying to prepare for whatever Adrien's lawyer was going to throw at me. I'd even consulted with my own attorney, but after hearing the basic facts, she'd gently suggested that my best option might be to negotiate rather than fight. Patricia Chen's law office was in a sleek downtown building that screamed expensive and competent. I sat in the waiting room, my palms sweating, until a receptionist called my name. The conference room was intimidating, all dark wood and floor-to-ceiling windows. Adrien was already seated at the far end of the table with a woman I assumed was Patricia Chen. He looked tired but determined, and he didn't meet my eyes when I walked in. Mrs. Price, Patricia stood and extended her hand. I'm Patricia Chen. Thank you for coming. Thank you for... I'm here. I fumbled over my words, taking a seat across from Adrien. Let's get started, Patricia said, opening a thick folder. My client has asked me to present you with a separation agreement. The terms are fair and reasonable given the circumstances. Circumstances? I tried to keep my voice steady. What circumstances? Patricia exchanged a glance with Adrien. The circumstances surrounding the breakdown of your marriage, Mrs. Price, the infidelity. There was no infidelity. I've been saying this for weeks. I danced with a friend at a club, that's all. Mrs. Price, Patricia's voice was patient but firm. We have substantial evidence that contradicts that statement. She opened her folder and began laying out documents like she was dealing cards. First, we have the video that started all of this. 37 seconds of you engaging in sexually suggestive behavior with Jesse Holloway while your husband was home caring for your daughter. It was just dancing. Second, we have witness statements from 4 different people who were at the club that night. All 4 state that you and Mr. Holloway were physically intimate for several hours, including kissing and what they described as heavy petting. My mouth went dry. They're lying. Third, we have screenshots of text messages between you and Mr. Holloway spanning 3 months, showing a clear pattern of emotional infidelity and romantic interest. She slid the screenshots across the table. Seeing my own words laid out like evidence in a criminal case made my stomach turn. Fourth, we have screenshots of messages from your group chat with friends, where you explicitly discussed your attraction to Mr. Holloway and your dissatisfaction with your marriage. More papers slid across the table. Messages I'd forgotten I'd sent. Complaints about Adrien that looked cruel and petty in black and white. And finally, Patricia continued, we have a statement from Mr. Holloway himself, admitting that you propositioned him that night, and that he declined only because he was in a relationship. What? I looked at Adrien in shock. Jesse said I propositioned him. Adrien finally spoke, his voice quiet and controlled. He said you asked him to come home with you. He said you told him you were unhappy in your marriage and wanted to be with him instead. That's not... I mean, I might have said something like that, but I was drunk. I didn't mean it. So you admit you propositioned him? Patricia asked. I realized I'd just walked into a trap. I was drunk and emotional. People say things they don't mean when they're drunk. But you did say it. I looked around the room desperately. Yes, but... Mrs. Price, Patricia interrupted, my client is prepared to offer you a generous separation agreement. You would retain partial custody of your daughter, keep your car, and receive reasonable spousal support for 2 years while you get back on your feet. I don't want a separation. I want my marriage. That's no longer an option, Adrien said quietly. Yes, it is. Adrien, please. I made mistakes, but we can work through this. We can go to counseling. We can... I can't trust you anymore, Kalantha. The words hit me like a physical blow. You can learn to trust me again. Can I? Because even now, even sitting here with all the evidence laid out in front of you, you're still making excuses. You're still trying to minimize what you did. I'm trying to save our family. You should have thought about our family before you started texting another man about how you wished you'd met him first. Patricia cleared her throat. Mrs. Price, I need to be clear about something. This separation agreement is a generous offer. If you refuse it and force my client to file for divorce, the proceedings will become public record. All of this evidence, the videos, the text messages, the witness statements, will be part of the court file, accessible to anyone who wants to see it. The implication was clear. Take the deal, or have my humiliation become even more public. I need time to think. You have until Friday, Patricia said. After that, we file for divorce. And if I sign this, what happens? You and Adrien separate legally. You work out custody arrangements for Issa. You both move on with your lives. And if I don't sign? Then we go to court, and a judge decides based on all the evidence we've presented today. Given the circumstances, my client would likely receive primary custody, and you would have supervised visitation until you can prove you've addressed the issues that led to the breakdown of the marriage. Supervised visitation. The words made me feel sick. This isn't fair, I whispered. Fair? Adrien leaned forward, and for the first time I could see the anger he'd been holding back. Fair would have been you coming to me when you started having feelings for Jesse. Fair would have been you working on our marriage instead of looking for attention from another man. Fair would have been you thinking about our daughter before you decided to humiliate our family in public. I never meant for any of this to happen. But it did happen, and you made it worse by lying about it, by blaming everyone else, by refusing to take responsibility for your choices. Tears were streaming down my face now. I love you. I love Issa. I know I screwed up, but doesn't that count for anything? Adrien's expression softened slightly, but his resolve didn't waver. It counts for something. It's why I'm offering you this agreement instead of fighting for full custody. But love isn't enough anymore, Kalantha. Trust is gone, and without trust, we don't have a marriage. Patricia gathered her papers. Mrs. Price, I'll need your answer by Friday at 5 p.m. If you'd like to have your attorney review the agreement, that's certainly your right. I nodded numbly, unable to speak. As I stood to leave, Adrien called my name softly. Kalantha. I turned back, hoping for some sign that this wasn't really over. For what it's worth, he said, I really did love you. I love the woman I married, the mother of my daughter. I just don't know who you are anymore. The words followed me out of the building and all the way home to my empty house. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the separation agreement, and finally allowed myself to see the full scope of what I'd destroyed. My marriage, my family, my reputation, my daughter's sense of security. All for what? A few moments of feeling desired by a man who didn't even want me enough to risk his own relationship. I picked up the pen and stared at the signature line. Everything I'd built over 8 years of marriage was about to end with the stroke of a pen. My daughter would grow up in a broken home because I'd been too selfish and too proud to appreciate what I had. But maybe Adrien was right. Maybe I didn't deserve his trust anymore. Maybe I didn't deserve the family I'd taken for granted. With shaking hands, I signed my name on the line and sealed the fate I'd created for myself.